Hello. So I just have a quick share along with a tutorial for how I made this today. It is a mini album, except that it is just a photo album. There's no decoration, there's nothing on the inside. The only decoration is the cover and the back cover. That's the only pattern paper in the whole album. It is made solely for photographs, and it is made with the intention of being very simple and being something that is a gift for someone who is not a scrapbooker, and they will be able to easily put their photos in it and then throw this in their purse to show off their photos. I have a family member who just came back from vacation, and I'm assuming that they took a lot of photographs because they went on an Alaskan cruise, and so I wanted to give them something that they could put their pictures in that was still handmade, but something that was simple and easy to show off their photos. So I made this little photo album, and also I wanted a lot of photos in something that wouldn't be too large. The way that I made this can hold 90 photographs, and with the page design that I have, it has the capability to hold even more than that. You could add another 30, which would be 120. It could hold another 120. And then even another 30, it could hold 150 photographs just by changing a few cuts if you wanted it to. I wanted it to be a little bit simpler, so I cut it down to 90, and I think that's going to be good. The whole album is 4.5 by 6.5. It's very simple, and then the pages on the inside are 4.25 by 6.25, and as you can see, there is no I didn't put any pattern paper on them because I wanted the focus to be on the picture solely. There's nothing if I had put photographs on this, I would have had to make them bigger, or if I had put pattern paper, I would have had to make them bigger, and then you would just see very little of the pattern paper anyway, so I didn't want to distract from the photographs at all. So if you can tell, they will fit right on there with just a very little bit of a border, and that will make them the whole album is essentially for photographs. Okay? And now I will go ahead and show you. This is a picture of my daughter, by the way. Also, in here you have the ability to have a photo mat where you can just put your photos onto them. Or if you don't want to have a photo mat, you could just slide your photos into the pocket. I like the idea of putting them on a photo mat so that it kind of matches the rest of the album. They're all matted, and then it just sits in there. Okay, so in each page there's their first page with a photograph, then there's a mat with a photograph, then when you turn the page over here there's a flip, and like I said, all of them fit a 4 by 6 photograph perfectly. And then you flip it over here, and you can put another one, and then here, and you can put another one. Okay? And then it seals up like that. So that's how it works, and all of the pages are exactly the same. Now, with the page design that I made, you also have the ability to have a flap on the front of them and a flap on the top. All I wanted was just a flap on the back, but I'm going to show you how to make it so you can have all three if you want to. And it opens flat. All of the pages open up flat. Okay? And it's very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I put that together really quick. For each page that you want to have, my book has 15 pages. So for each page that you have, you're going to need an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So we're going to go ahead and start with that one. And I'm going to make mine with 2 different pieces of pattern paper because it will make it a little bit easier for you to see how what I'm doing. Let's see here. Alrighty. Okay. So you're going to start off with your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you're going to put it in on your scoreboard with the 11 along the top. And then we're going to make our first score at 1/2 inch. The next one is going to be at 4 3/4, and the last one is at 9. And then you're going to turn it. Okay, so now up here, this is your 1/2 inch score mark, and down here is where you made your 9-inch score mark. Okay, you're going to score it at 3/4 and at 7. Okay, that's all the scoring. Let's score the next one so that we have all the scoring done. I did all of mine in blocks because essentially it's the same all the way around, so that makes it really easy to just do it in sets. So you do all your scoring, then you do all your cutting, and then you can do all your folding and all your gluing at the same time. Okay, and then so we're going to make a score mark at 1/2 inch, 4 3/4, and 9. Then we turn it and we score it at 3/4 and 7. Okay, and then we're all done with our scoring now. You would do this however many times that you want to make the pages that you want. And I'm making mine out of pattern paper to show you that if you wanted to make it out of pattern paper, you could essentially. Okay? But you don't have to. So what we're going to do here, now we're going to start our cutting, okay? The first thing we're going to cut is right here. Let's see if you can see the score marks. Right here is a little rectangle, okay? Here is our 1/2 inch here. Here's our 3/4. We're going to cut off that rectangle where they come together. Okay? Then we're going to come over here and we're going to cut off this. Oops. I'm going to cut off that rectangle. Or we're going to remove a triangle right at that score mark. And then on this one now, we're going to cut at an angle there. Okay, then we're going to turn it. And for this part, we're going to cut straight up on the score mark. We don't want to remove this one at an angle. This is going to remain a flat if you want to keep it. So we're just going to cut straight up. Okay? Then we're going to turn it again. We cut on both sides of those score marks. Then we turn it again, and over here we're going to cut on this side of the score mark, and we're going to completely remove this little rectangle. And then over here we're going to cut just a sliver out in between these two tabs. Okay? Essentially all I'm doing is removing the full score mark. Okay? The score mark, it essentially has 2 sides to it, and all I did was just cut right up either side, and what that will do is it'll help our flaps fit better. And then I cut up this longer rectangle, and then I'm going to just cut this one just like that. Okay? So there's that. that's what you're left with, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and cut the next one so we can do all our cutting at once, okay? Again, this one you won't be able to see the score marks as easily. Let's do it on the back here. Can you see the score marks there? Right here is my 1/2 inch and here is my 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to completely remove that, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to remove this. I'm going to cut a triangle in here. This is on my 3/4 side still. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cut this one at an angle as well. Okay. And I'm going to turn it here. And this one I'm going to cut straight up. Just like that. And then this one I'm going to cut straight up. Then I'm going to turn it again. And I'm going to cut straight up on this one. Just like that. And then we're come to the center and I'm going to remove the whole score mark. So I'm cutting off just a hair of the paper. Can you see what I'm cutting off here? Just a hair. There. Can you see it now? Can you see what I'm removing? Just a hair. It's like literally that big. Okay, so you don't need to remove anything more than that. And then I'm going to cut this one also straight up. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to cut this one at an angle. And then that's it. Okay, this is what we're left with. Alright, now here is where your page changes, okay? First thing we're going to do is do up all of your folds, okay? Like that. Like this. And then, okay, now we're going to turn it over. And we're not going to do this one. So far we've done those two, okay? And that's this one, and then we fold it in half. We're going to skip this one, and we're going to fold this one up, okay? This one is going to go inside. That's why you want to fold that one first. This one is going to wrap around to the back side. Alright? And then essentially, that's what's going to happen. It's going to come together. And that's going to be your basic page. I gotta figure out. Okay, well, anyways, so this is we're gonna seal this up first, okay? And then we're gonna put adhesive on both of these parts, okay? Just like that, and then I'm going to put them together and apply pressure and stick them together, okay? And now this is what we're left with. This is the front. So this flap, this top flap will be backwards. Your long flaps, your opening will be on this side, and you'll have an extra flap on this side. This is going to be your front, okay? What you want to do is turn that flap over. You're folding it over to the back. This 3/4 inch flap. This is where your page is sealed here, okay? You're just going to fold that to the back. Just like that. This is your hinge. This is what is going to connect it to the next page. Okay? Then you're left with your options here. You've got 2 flaps essentially here. You've got the possibility for 2 flaps if you want them. Okay? So you've got 1 flap here, one flap here on the back side. I'll hold it up so you can see. You got a flap on each side, and then you also have the capability for a flap on the top like this. Okay, so this is where you decide what you want to keep on yours. Now on mine, all I kept was this back flap. I cut this off and this off, and then I added a piece of paper that was the same length as this to make it a full flap. So if you want to keep all of these, you can do that with all of them. Now keep in mind that we don't have any gusset. The way that we're putting this album together, there's no gusset here. So you don't want to make your books too thick. Unless you want to add a gusset. You could add a gusset if you wanted to, but you don't want to make them too thick. There's room for play with the spine, but just keep that in mind because you're going to add a piece of paper to this, and then if you decide that you want to add pattern paper as well, then you're also going to add a pattern paper, and then you're going to put your pictures on it. That's going to be a lot. If you just leave it as the one sheet of paper and then your photos, you'll be fine. If you add a piece of paper over this and a piece of paper over this and then your photos, you'll be fine for the spine that we have put on there. But if you go much more than that, you're going to need to adjust your spine or give yourself a gusset, okay? So anyways, we're going to make mine just like I made my other one. So I'm going to remove this piece. Now here's the thing about this. You would remove these before you glued it together because it's a lot harder once it's glued. But because I wanted to show you how all the flaps were going to work, I had to leave it together. So you can cut it if you want to. Like you saw, I just cut off that extra part, and then you're going to put a thumb punch or a thumb pull on this side. If you left the flap, then obviously you can't put this, but I decided to just put a thumb pull on this side and leave my flap on the back, okay? And then I also removed this one. Now you could leave this one, just remove this one, just remove this one. You could do it any different way that you wanted to, really. If you're using pattern paper, you're going to have a little bit of a harder time. You're going to have to try to match it and, you know, line it up so that it looks nice. Match this to the next one so that they match up. But, you know, you can do it however you want. Like I said, with mine, I simply used plain cardstock. Then there's no worrying about matching it up. So now, whatever flap you're going to keep, or whatever you're going to keep, add the pieces of paper to make them the full page, and then we'll move on from there. But first, I'm just going to remove this from mine. Okay, so now here is my finished page to how I wanted it to be made. Okay. Now we put this aside and we're going to go on to the next one. Now with this one, because I am already aware what I want to keep, I'm going to go ahead and remove the bits that I don't want. Okay. So I'm going to remove this long flap here, and I'm going to remove this flap right here. Just going to put this in here and slide that off, and this is what I'm left with, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and cut. Yep, I'm going to cut. Hold on a second here. Okay. I'm going to cut this. Oh, I forgot how mine goes together. Alright, I'll fold it and then put it together in a minute. I'm going to remove I'm going to fold this flap right here. Then I'm going to fold, I skipped this one and fold this one. Okay. And then I'm going to put them together. So I'm going to remove this flap right here, because I don't want the front flap. I just want the back flap. And like I said, you can keep them all. Make it however you want to make it. Make it for however many pictures that you want to make it. I'm putting my adhesive on my 1/2 inch and there on my 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm just going to slip them together. And then I'm going to fold this back. Okay, just like that. Now this is my front, and I'm going to fold this one back as well. Okay, so now we have 2 pages, and they're going to go together just like that. Okay. Now to do that, I want to apply my adhesive to my hinge here. And I'm going to apply my adhesive just like that. And I'm going almost up to the edge. Now here's the thing. If you left on all of the flaps, okay, don't put your adhesive right up to the edge. Just leave a hair away from the edge, which will help give your spine a little more leeway too, okay? Don't put it right up to the edge. Then take your pages. This is how I like to do mine. I line them up on the ground, make sure they're lined up sideways together, and then push them together just like that, okay? Then open it up and really press down your hinge there. Okay. Now we're going to pretend that I have all of my pages on. Okay. Everything I wanted is attached. I've got 15 pages. This is my back and this is my front. The only thing I have left to do is to add a paper hinge to the front so that I can connect it to my spine. I'm going to go ahead and use one of the flaps that I cut off. And all I'm going to do is fold it in half. Okay, it's quite simple. Then I'm going to miter my corners just like this. Then I take this and I put adhesive on this side. Make sure to also put it right up to the edge on that one too. Unless you have all of your stuff, all of your flaps, if you left them all intact, give yourself a little bit of breathing room in your spine. Okay, so there we have it. Now this is where we're going to attach a piece of chipboard to, okay? And then the back one, this is going to attach to the back chipboard. No, not right now. And then so you're going to attach this to your chipboard. Both front and back is going to attach to your chipboard, just like this. Okay, I'll show you. I have these 2 little pieces, so you're going to attach them just like that. And then that's how your book is going to be connected to the covers, okay? Once you're done with that, then all you have to do is cut a piece of, this is grunge paper. You don't have to use grunge paper. You could use good cardstock if you wanted to. I like grunge paper because it curves, gives it a little bit more of a turn like that. It just makes it look a little bit nicer, I think. I painted mine white with a little bit of purple stain in it, And I also remember paint both the front and the back of it, because the back shows when you're looking down in there. The back shows, so you want to have it all painted. Okay, anyways, so then you're going to attach a little bit of that to the cover and then to the back spine, and that's essentially how your album goes together. It's super simple, very easy, very user-friendly photo album, essentially. And like I said, if you make it out of pattern paper, it still looks nice. And you could figure out a way that this wouldn't show. I didn't try to figure one out because like I said, I made mine with pattern paper, so the hinge blends. I made mine with cardstock, so the hinge kind of blends in. I mean, you can see it, but once the photo's on top of it, you won't even really notice it. Like there, I don't hardly notice any paper hinge or anything, you know. But if you're going to, like here, when you there we go. Okay, so like on the back here, when you attach your paper to this, you're going to see this plus the paper that you attach, so you need to have double-sided paper. Or if you've done it with double-sided paper, then you mix up your patterns and maybe you don't worry about that, you know. Also, make sure that you pay attention to the way that your photo lays, or your paper lays, because this one on the back side, it's upside down. On the front side, it's fine. On the back side, it's upside down. So, anyways, I hope you make one. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and I will try to get back to you. Or feel free to leave them in the comments. Have a great day.